We open on an image that few modern viewers can fully grasp, a disease that, across the 20th century, killed an estimated 300 million people, robbed countless lives of flesh and dignity, and left survivors disfigured and scarred. That disease is smallpox, and its story is not only medical, it is political, logistical, and profoundly human. It is a story of how the World Health Organization mounted an unprecedented global campaign, and how, in the darkest days of the Cold War, adversaries joined forces to achieve what many had thought impossible. Smallpox was ancient and relentless: high fever, unmistakable pustules, and a mortality rate that could reach 30%. Cities and villages alike knew the fear of its arrival. Vaccination existed for more than a century, yet by the mid-20th century the virus still circulated widely. Then, in 1958, the World Health Assembly sounded an alarm. The time had come to try for eradication. It was an ambitious declaration, and early efforts were halting. Vaccination campaigns were fragmented, underfunded, and often stumbled over geography, conflict, and politics. In 1967, the WHO launched the Intensified Global Eradication Program with clear objectives, funding, and new strategies. It was an organizational gamble that required more than medicine. It required innovation in surveillance, logistics, and field operations. Central to the plan was a simple but transformative insight: find every case, contain every case. This search and ring method meant that instead of trying to vaccinate every single person in a region, health teams would focus on identifying cases and vaccinating everyone in close contact with them. To do that, they needed people on the ground teams that could travel fast, work in difficult terrain, and operate even amid violence and distrust. Here is where geopolitics intervened in a way few expected. The eradication campaign accelerated during the most dangerous phase of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in rivalry across continents, yet both had a stake in eliminating an ancient scourge. Remarkably, the Soviet Union became a primary producer of vaccine supplies, scaling up production to supply poorer nations. Soviet manufacturing facilities turned out millions of doses, packaged and shipped by a system of global diplomacy that transcended ideological lines. At the same time, American expertise in field epidemiology shaped the operational backbone of the campaign. U.S. epidemiologists, often from the Centers for Disease Control, volunteered to fly into active war zones and politically unstable regions. They worked in remote villages, refugee camps, and front lines, sometimes amid firefights or under curfew. These teams trained local health workers, refined surveillance techniques, and adapted strategies to the realities they faced, from nomadic populations to urban slums. The collaboration was not formalized in a single treaty. It was a mosaic of cooperation: vaccine shipments from Moscow, technical assistance, and field teams from Atlanta and Geneva, and local health workers across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. In Ethiopia, teams tracked cases in the highlands and deserts. In India, a massive coordinated effort reached hundreds of millions with targeted immunization drives. In Somalia and Bangladesh, workers navigated political chaos to carry out door-to-door campaigns. The scale was staggering. The will to act was relentless. There were setbacks. Outbreaks persisted, logistics failed at times, and distrust of outsiders could hamper access. But the campaign learned and adapted. It refined cold chain logistics to keep vaccine viable in remote heat. It developed reporting networks that turned rumor into actionable intelligence. Above all, it applied the simple principle that had driven the strategy from the start: no case left untraced. The final act of this global endeavor was both scientific and symbolic. In 1977, the last naturally occurring case was recorded in Somalia. After rigorous surveillance and confirmation, in 1980, the World Health Assembly declared smallpox eradicated. For the first time in human history, a disease of humans alone had been extinguished by coordinated global action. Smallpox's eradication remains a rare and towering achievement. It cost billions, demanded courage and ingenuity, and required rivals to cooperate for the common good. The Soviet Union and the United States did not lay down all their differences, but they did find shared purpose in saving lives. The achievement transformed public health thinking. It proved that eradication was possible, that surveillance and swift response could succeed where mass campaigns alone could not. Today, the smallpox story is a reminder and a challenge. It shows that even in a divided world, humanity can mobilize across borders, ideologies, and conflict to defeat a common enemy. It teaches that science, diplomacy, and grit working together can change the course of history.